Hello everyone. In today's UPSC answer copy analysis, we are going to see All India Rank 9 UPSC 2024 Aditya Vikram Agarwal's answer copy. So let's first try to understand the question which has been asked here. Examine the geopolitical challenges India faces in South Asia despite its global rise. How can India navigate these challenges to strengthen its regional leadership? So it's a 15 marker question, and the real examination will be given a maximum of 3 pages to write this particular 15 marker question, and the word limit will be 250 words. So we need to follow that clearly. Not only that, if you read the question, there's clearly visible there are two major components which has been asked in the question, and this particular question is picked from our GS paper 2 component related to international relations. Okay, students, now let's try to see how this topper has addressed the question. So overall, he has started the answer with a introduction, and that too, that introduction has been written in 3 to 3.5 lines. So introduction is very crisp and to the point. And if you look at it, he has followed it with the body of the answer. So in the body of the answer, he has followed various subheading point-wise approach, and he has concluded the answer. The conclusion he has written in a bit lengthy manner of 5.5 lines. Generally, I will be advising my students to write 3 to 3.5 lines conclusion. That is more than enough to fetch that maximum of 1 mark. Only it is not at all possible in that situation. Only you can come up with bit till 1 or 2 lines extra. Okay. Now let's go into this topper, how he has addressed in a creative manner. If you look at the introduction, he has started it with linking it with the current affairs, and that too with proper relevant data. So he's talking about India's economical ranking from 5th position to 3rd position by 2030. So this is going to add value because here the question is also pertaining to India and that to South Asia. So he's comparing India's economical advantage here in the introduction itself, and this is going to be adding more value. That is the maximum of 1 mark this topper will be easily getting. Not only that, if you look at the conclusion also, even though it is lengthier, is quoting the proper external affairs minister, that is Jaishankar's quote is telling a nation that aspires to lead cannot continue with its unsettled borders, unintegrated regions, and underexploited opportunities. Therefore, navigating these are necessary to achieve global rise. This conclusion is actually adding more value to this particular question, because if you look at this question itself is talking about how India can rise in its and strengthen its leadership position, and this quote is adding relevant. That is why I will be telling you need to link your introduction and conclusion with current affairs. So easily this topper will be getting for the conclusion also 1 mark. Let's now go into the body of the answer which he has followed in this particular answer. So overall, if you look at the body of the answer, they are asking us to examine, that is a geopolitical challenge, that is the first major component, and in the second major component they are asking us the challenges. So overall, if you look at this particular topper, he has used various subheadings, that is India's global rise, that is one subheading. Then he has talked about the challenges, and then third thing, how India can navigate the challenges. He has broken that answer component, two major components, into 3 major subheadings in his answer. For the first major subheading, he has written almost 4 points. So with proper examples he has written. So this is actually is trying to elaborate the initial component, that is India's global rise, where it can be seen. In the first major component, they are asking us to talk about challenges, but he is talking about initially to elaborate the introduction itself. He is talking about some lengthier introduction. So you will be getting 1 mark for this particular component. And if you look at it, the main component of the question, that is a second subheading, is talking about almost in a point-wise approach of 7 points. So you'll be getting half my for each of these points, so 3.5, because he has written proper relevant examples and he has used creatively diagrams. This diagram is adding more value here. But generally, what I will be suggesting to my students is that whenever you are drawing a diagram, please try to give proper title to the diagram. Second, always put the diagram in a proper box-based approach. Not only that, you try to bring in the various parts in the diagram in a proper manner, and there is no need to use any different colors in your particularly diagrams and all. You can use the same pen only for drawing the diagram. In case if you find time, please try to draw your diagram with pencil. That's all. Don't try to bring in varieties of color pens and all, because time limit is going to be a big challenge in UPSC mains answer writing. And whatever you are doing extra, all this should do or carry extra marks. Adding color pens will never carry extra marks in real UPSC exam. So please don't do that. And second most important thing, don't try to draw the diagram like this, filling the complete page of the answer or one segment of the your page in your answer. Try to draw your diagram in especially one side of the page, so it can occupy like this, or up to half of the page or three half of the page, and remaining side you should try to fill up with words. That will be the better approach rather than drawing like this. But anyways, it is done in a creative manner, so you will be getting that half mark extra for this diagram. And let's go into the third major subheading. Here again he has brought in almost 7 points, so you needs to be given that half a mark, that is for each of the points. So 3.5 mark he will be easily getting, because he has used wherever possible examples also, and he has underlined the keywords, usage of proper linkage with international organizations, everything which is required for an international relation question he has brought in this particular answer. So overall, if you look at the marking pattern here, for the introduction and conclusion, you got 1 mark, that is 2 mark. And if you look at the body of the answer, initially for the extension of the introduction, you got 1 mark extra. In the body of the answer, second major subheading, you got 3.5 plus of 4 marks. Third major subheading, you got another 3.5. So 4 plus 3.5, 7.5, and here another one, 8.5. And for the introduction and conclusion, another 2 marks. So overall, he has got almost 10.5 marks for a 15 marker question. I would be saying this is going to be one of the maximum marks also, which we can really get in GS paper 2, especially international relation component answers also. So what is more creative or some important learnings from this particular topic is that I will be telling my students repetitively, whenever you are writing a 15 marker question, please try to write at least 12 to 15 points to fetch maximum marks. Here if you see this topper, for the second major subheading has written 7 points. Third major subheading another 7 points. So almost here only has written 14 points. So you'll be getting easily that 7 marks from this component itself. And introduction conclusion, he has linked it with current affairs. And wherever possible, diagrams and examples he has added to this particular question to add more value. That is why I will be telling my students, do all this value addition component and follow the thumb rule of answer writing clearly to get that maximum marks in UPSC examination. If you look at his GS paper 2, where international relations will be coming, he got out of 250 marks 113. That is on an average of 5.5 to 6 marks per question. So for some of the questions you would have got in real examination also maximum marks. For few questions you would have got a bit lesser mark. That's why he has averaged around 113 marks in his GS paper 2. So what are some of the important points to be noted from today's video is that structure of the answer is going to be always crucial. Whichever paper we are writing, this approach needs to be followed. Introduction, body, conclusion. Introduction and conclusion, try to address it in a current affairs based approach. Body of the answer, subheading come point wise is recommendable. And wherever it's possible, even for higher related questions, we should bring in diagrams and examples. And linking introduction and conclusion with current affairs will add more value to our answers, also to our marks. Students, if you are writing answers, especially pertaining to GS paper 2, and if you face any challenges, please try to incorporate these points in your answer writing technique. And if you want further feedback or constant updates on answer writing, follow the Telegram channel which is given on our description box below. Thank you, students.